A lot has been written about contradictions in Hadith or misinterpretations. There are a lot of statements of the Prophet Muhammad being circulated in the media by various folks. Is there a lot of contradiction in Hadith, and where is much of this problem? Does it lie in not understanding the words properly or misquoting the statements of the Prophet? What would you have to say on that?
You can imagine that the Prophet Muhammad, his career as a prophet was some 23 years. And you can imagine, let's say, being a leader of a community, for not only a leader of the community politically, but a religious leader and governing the society for 23 years. You're going to say a lot of things and do a lot of things. And it's going to be very tough to know, just taking one thing out of context, where it fits in this greater message. And you can imagine how easy it is to take something out of context, to assume that two things are contradictory when in fact they're not. I mean, for example, when you're raising your child, you might tell the child, don't do something in one context, and tell them to do that thing in another context. And unless you know that these are two different situations, you'd think that they're contradicting one another. So it's very important to remember that, these are specific statements that the Prophet made, let's say, over 23 years of his life, and that they always have to be taken and looked at in that light. Similarly, things where the Prophet is made to look, either evil or inhuman or something like that. People like to take hadiths and say this is a very problematic hadith. Again, you also have to look at that in a certain context. And maybe what he's saying makes complete sense there. Maybe what he's saying, is very understandable, considering that for the last 10 years of his life, or the last 8 years of his life, he was engaged in a war with other tribes and other cities. So, he was a wartime commander and making military decisions about life and death. So sometimes things could seem sort of harsh. And so, it's very important to always look at these things in the context of the Prophet's life.
So context is key here. We hear a lot about context and looking at the historical background of verses of the Quran in addition to the statements of the Prophet Muhammad. Is this a problem within Muslim circles as well? We see various statements being attributed to certain Muslim groups and Muslim individuals that appear to be extreme, and other Muslims are accusing them not understanding the context. So is this a problem also within the Muslim world? That
it's a huge problem. This is a big, this is sort of really, if you want to look at how Muslims, when they, if people have extreme or violent understandings of Islam, they'll justify it by, pointing to certain hadiths or Quranic verses and sort of taking them out of context. That's a big problem. That's why, Muslim scholars spend a lot of their time trying to teach the Muslim masses about not just acting on a hadith or Quranic verse in a knee-jerk way, but understanding that you have to look at this in the context of the greater message of Islam. So this is a big problem, but it's something that Muslim scholars have been aware of for since the beginning of the religion, and have been trying to curb. But unfortunately, in any society and any time, you're going to have people with, for whatever reason motivates them, going to have extreme or violent or hateful ideology, and this is part of combating that.